Welcome back, everyone.
Hello, and welcome to this deep dive into the April 2025 edition of the Ulster Airmail magazine.
Wow, this issue is packed, isn't it?
It really is. Loads to get through.
Absolutely. We've got everything from historical accounts, hangar updates, AGM reports, even a bit of mobile gaming later on.
So our plan is basically to, pull out the most interesting bits, the key updates from the Ulster Aviation Society for everyone listening.
Sounds like a plan. Where should we start?
Let's kick things off with the chairman's column. That's Ray Burrows on page 3. It sounds like things are ramping up for the outdoor events season.
Yeah, he mentions that straight away. And the usual call for volunteers. What's quite positive is he notes the membership numbers are holding up well, despite that usual dip you get over winter.
That's good to hear. Shows strong support.
Definitely speaks to the community they built there.
And a big highlight, I think, for a lot of people will be the Society's Spitfire going back to Belfast City Hall. It's been 10 years, apparently. That's quite a moment, bringing that piece of Second World War history right into the city center again.
It really is such an iconic aircraft, isn't it? And having it there after a decade, that's a powerful way to mark victory in Europe Day.
Absolutely.
The column also sadly notes the passing of John Paddy Hemingway, DFC.
The last surviving Battle of Britain pilot.
A huge loss. But they mention the upcoming permanent Battle of Britain display, which sounds like a very fitting tribute in the Ernie Cromie Second World War room.
Definitely. A way to remember that generation.
The column also gives a heads up about the AGM minutes and a big anniversary coming up, the centenary of 502 Ulster Squadron. May 15th, 1925, that was. And they mentioned the book Flying the Red Hand. And interestingly, a hint that Guy Warner might be working on a new, more complete history of the squadron.
Oh, that would be fantastic, keeping that history alive.
And then, just quickly, updates on the hangars.
Yes, the Hangar 1 rear doors refurbishment sounds like it was well underway.
And they were hoping to get Hangar 2 completed before the July holidays.
Which they'll definitely need for things like the European Heritage Open Days.
It all points to, well, a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes.
Which actually leads us nicely into the Heritage Happenings section, doesn't it?
This gives us a bit more detail on exactly what's been happening in those hangars. Hangar 2 sounds particularly busy.
Progress on the Seaprints getting the undercarriage doors working.
Yeah, and they've added a motion sensor to one of the engines.
Oh, that's clever. So people can hear the startup sounds?
I think so, yeah. Just brings it to life a bit more, makes it more engaging for visitors,
Little touches like that make a difference.
And the Gannet's getting a makeover, too. Painting was underway.
Makes sense to do that in the warmer weather.
And applying 831 squadron markings, that detail is so important.
It really is, getting the history right. Though it sounds like the Enniskillen and Chicano is giving them a bit of bother.
Yeah, something about the flaps not working correctly, which is preventing them opening the cockpit fully. Hopefully they can sort that out.
Because letting people peek inside, even just a look, is always popular.
Oh, absolutely. It gives you that connection. And it's not just aircraft. The AEC Matador lorries restoration is moving along, too. The wooden flatbed is on now.
Shows the range of skills they have there, doesn't it? It's the whole picture of aviation support.
And another display completed the history of Longcash Airfield during the Second World War. That's now up in the front hallway.
Good to see that site's history being preserved.
And a new engine for display, too. A Turbomeca Marbor. That'll be a nice addition to the engine room.
Powered some interesting early jets, those ones.
Yeah. And the Aircrew Life Support Equipment Room display sounds like it's been expanded. They've enhanced the Martin Baker ejection seat display. Apparently, they've got a closer relationship now with Martin Baker themselves, specifically regarding the Society's Meteor T7 Special.
That could be really interesting. Might lead to, more insights or help with that specific aircraft.
It opens doors. Now, all this work, especially the new hangar doors, means moving things around.
The logistics. Moving a Gannet and a Seaprints doesn't sound simple.
No. But they plan to use skates, apparently, like they did with the Shorts 330 a while back.
Tried and tested method, then. Still, quite an operation.
They were hoping they might only need to move the links initially for the outdoor events, which would make life a bit easier.
Fingers crossed for them on that one. Okay, so that's the hangars. Let's dive into the AGM report. Pages 22 to 27. Sounds like 2024 was a pretty big year.
Oh, absolutely. A banner year, I think is how it was described later on. The chairman's report kicks it off, highlighting some major achievements.
Like securing an improved license agreement. That sounds important. Foundational stuff.
Gives them more security and getting ultra-fast fiber broadband. Maybe less glamorous, but essential these days.
What else stood out?
Well, getting an assistant tour coordinator in place shows good organization.
And using the Spitfire to launch the EHOD brochure, nice bit of PR.
Definitely made an impact. Acquisitions were big, too. The Jaguar, the Lynx, the Gazelle helicopter.
Wow. And, of course, acquiring the Tucano and Enniskillen we mentioned earlier.
And lots of progress inside the hangars, the engine room, life support room, the Second World War room, library, and those flight sim and VR suites we keep hearing about.
They sound really popular.
Hugely. And shows in the visitor numbers a record 13,200 people through the doors in 2024.
13,200. That's amazing.
Incredible numbers.
I must have boosted membership, too.
Well, Stephen Hegarty's honorary secretary report backs that up. He called 2024 a landmark year. He really emphasizes the popularity of the flight sim and VR suites. Seems like it's a massive draw for all ages, really, that hands-on element.
It makes total sense. What else did the secretary mention?
Progress towards museum accreditation, a long process, but shows commitment. And the potential loan of the Shorts SB.5.
Oh, the experimental one. That would be a real coup.
Huge.
Yeah.
And getting mentioned in Stormont, unsolicited apparently. And they're hosting all sorts of visits, even dog training events, which shows community engagement. And, crucially, an increase in younger members and volunteers coming through. That's vital for the future.
Okay, so then we have the membership secretary's report from Mark J. Cairns.
Yep, and he provides the hard numbers. A 15% jump in membership overall. Pretty impressive.
Very. Anything specific driving that?
Well, he mentions improvements to the Ulster Airmail magazine itself. Better paper, lamination, little things members appreciate.
Those quality touches matter, don't they?
They do. And a redesigned membership form making gift aid clearer, smart move financially. The website analytics are staggering. Over 41,000 unique visitors. Driven largely by AI search, apparently. Shows they're reaching a massive online audience now.
Incredible reach.
And getting the TripAdvisor Traveler's Choice Award again for the 4th year, that speaks volumes about the visitor experience.
It really does. Consistent quality.
He details the flight sim and VR expansion. 7 simulators, 6 VR headsets now. That's a major setup.
It really is, competing on a bigger stage there.
Then Gary McDonald, the treasurer, confirms the positive financial picture. 2024 was their second best year ever for income versus spending.
Great news. Where did the main income come from?
Member donations were significant, apparently very generous. And EHOD, of course.
Allowed them to make those big purchases, the Jaguar, Lynx, Gazelle, glider restoration bits, the simulators.
Exactly. But still ended the year with a healthy balance. Good management.
And he pointed out the membership feed hasn't changed since 2010.
Amazing value, really.
It is. The report also notes some questions from the floor at the AGM about resourcing the events team, maybe more in-house events and visitor seating or catering.
Shows members are engaged and thinking about improvements, which is healthy.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, it lists the elected trustee board for the year ahead.
Provides that continuity of leadership.
Right, so that covers the AGM. Quite a comprehensive overview. Let's shift focus a bit to some of the more personal stories in the magazine. Page 14 has a piece about a member's father during the Second World War.
Ah, yes. This was from Richard Waring. It's a really moving account of his father's service as an electrical assistant, first on HMS Mersey, then on the aircraft carrier HMS Premier.
Right, involved in transatlantic crossings.
And some serious action aerial mine-laying with Avengers, providing fighter cover with Wildcats. Gives you a real sense of naval aviation then.
And that Arctic convoy, JW-66, to Russia sounds incredibly dangerous.
Absolutely harrowing. And the detail that it was the last convoy battle of the war, and they lost HMS Goodall during it, that really brings it home. And then the contrast of docking at Scapa Flow on VE Day itself. Imagine the relief.
Must have been unbelievable before getting back to deck landing training.
Yeah, with Hellcats and Corsairs, before his father was finally released in 1946. It's a great personal history.
Really valuable to have those recorded. Now, jumping forward a few decades, page 18 has Memories of Jersey European from 1994 to 1996.
Yes, a really evocative piece. Captures a specific time in Northern Ireland aviation. JEA flying the Shorts 360s out of Belfast City.
The Shed, as they call the 360 sometimes.
That's the one. He talks about getting the job interview last minute, the induction down in Exeter, the very hands-on flight training.
Sounds quite intense. Any good stories from the line training?
He mentions one quite memorable kangaroo landing, gives you a flavor of it, and the old-school rostering system run by Brian Rostering.
Sounds very personal.
Very different from today's algorithms. He also talks about the challenges flying the 360 into Belfast City with crosswinds, the constant crew changes managed by Chris Crewing, Sounds like a dynamic environment.
You had to be flexible, I guess.
Definitely. And the excitement when he finally got onto the BA 146, the jet. Yeah, it describes the type rating course and the unique feel of the 146. Also touches on JEA's culture under Jack Walker. Quite conservative then.
Right, before they started flying from Aldergrove, too.
Exactly. And a funny story about nearly getting arrested in Marseille just for taking photos of the plane on a new route.
Oops. Occupational hazard, maybe.
Perhaps. But the overwhelming feeling is one of, a real family atmosphere at JEA back then.
Nice to hear.
He reflects on the airline becoming British European, then Flybe, and its eventual sad end in 2020. But he's clearly very grateful for the start JEA gave him, and still fond of the old Shorts 330 360s.
A great snapshot of a particular era. Okay, history buffs, brace yourselves. Made in Ulster, Short Stirlings Part 20.
Yes, Ray Burroughs again, with incredible detail on the operational lives of individual Stirling bombers built by Shorts. This part covers 3 specific airframes, N6036, N6037, and N6038.
And the detail is just phenomenal, isn't it? Sortie by sortie sometimes.
Take N6036, delivered to 7th Squadron, flew one up, damaged on landing, repaired, went to training units, had multiple accidents, more repairs, and ended up only flying 2 operations in total before being struck off charge. N6037 had a bit more action, flew 11 ops, was even involved in that attack on the Scharnhorst, shot down a couple of Messerschmitts.
Really impressive.
But it also suffered battle damage. Numerous accidents like tailwheel collapses, transfers between units, repairs, eventually dismantled and struck off charge too. The attrition rate was just immense.
And N6038.
Tragically short life. Lost on its very first operation, also attempting to attack the Scharnhorst. Ditched off the Welsh coast, sadly with the loss of all crew. Flew for just over 4 hours in total.
4 hours. Just devastating. It's grim reading, but so important to document these individual aircraft histories and the human cost involved.
Ray's dedication to this research is incredible. It's real aviation archaeology.
Okay, let's lighten the mood slightly. Page 16 reviews something called the Sky Cards app.
Yeah, this sounds quite fun, actually. It's a mobile game that combines plane spotting with card collecting.
How does that work?
It uses FlightRadar 24 data in real time. You basically catch aircraft flying within about 100 kilometers of you on the app. Tap on them, I suppose. And when you do, you earn a virtual card of that aircraft for your flight deck.
Ah, I see. Like collecting top trumps, but digital and based on real planes overhead?
Exactly. And you can level up the cards, paper, silver, gold, by catching the same type multiple times, earning points.
Sounds quite addictive for spotters. Any catches?
Well, you only get 5 catches initially, then there's a 15-minute wait, or you can watch an ad for more. Standard mobile game stuff.
Right. Pay or wait.
You also earn digital coins based on how accurately you catch the plane and the cloud cover, apparently. You can use coins to extend your catch radius, travel to virtual airports, or get unlimited catches for a time.
So there are game mechanics layered on top of the spotting.
Yeah, daily challenges, random gifts to help. And the aircraft cards have rarity levels.
Gotcha. The rarity system sounds clever, too. Common, uncommon, scarce, rare, ultra rare.
Yeah, like Cessna 172s are common, Boeing 737s, A320s. Scarce might be a Bombardier CRJ-200. Rare, maybe an Embraer E195 E2. Ultra rare, things like an Antonov An-12 or a U-2 spy plane, generally based on how many are still operational.
Cool. And special aircraft included, too, like the Boom XB-1.
Yeah, a supersonic demonstrator. And even some still flying classics like Shorts 360s and SC-7 Skyvans.
Nice touch for local interest. And for UAS members, there's a new UAS Sky Cards leaderboard.
That's right. If members want to be included, just send a screenshot of their level by the 28th of the month to Edgar at UlsterAviationSociety.org.
Right. So overall, Sky Cards sounds like a really engaging blend. Modern plane spotting tool meets fun, collectible game, and it's free.
It's free to download for anyone over 13. Pretty accessible. Seems like a great way to combine a passion for aviation with, mobile gaming.
Definitely. Okay, finally, let's quickly touch on the advert for events volunteers.
Right. The Society is looking for volunteers for their events team. Season runs May to September.
What kind of help do they need?
Setting up and taking down display aircraft, loading, unloading the van, manning exhibits, helping with shop sales, encouraging visitors to explore the hangars and take the free tours. The usual event support stuff. If anyone listening is interested in local, they can contact Ray Burroughs, chairman at UlsterAviationSociety.org, or just reach out to any UAS board member. It's a fantastic way to get closer to the action and help out.
Absolutely. And, if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the latest Ulster Airmail, and you're not already a member of the Ulster Aviation Society, well, you are really missing out.
Definitely. There's even more fascinating content, great opportunities to connect with other enthusiasts, and get involved directly like with the events team.
So for all the information on how to join and support the incredible work they do, head over to their membership page. That's at ulsteraviationsociety.org.
Well worth checking out.
We hope you found this deep dive as interesting as we have.
Until next time.